If you want to go from this to this to this, then keep watching. I'm going to show you how I block out my eyebrows. Now, before I start this video, I just want to say all of the tips and the tricks and everything that I use has come from drag queens. I have learned and watched their tips and tricks and kind of pulled from different sources to create what I do now to block out my own eyebrows. Now, the first thing you're going to need is an Elmer's glue stick. I like to use the purple because it goes on purple and then it dries clear, so you kind of know when you can apply another layer. Okay, what you do want to start with is a totally blank canvas. Now, since I already had makeup on my face, what I'm going to want to do is take some alcohol to remove any excess oil. That way this will go on nicely, it'll stick and it won't lift. Another thing that before I start, I know a lot of people always wonder, why do you lick the glue? Why do you lick the glue? I get that a lot. And the reason why is it helps kind of soften it, helps kind of warm it up, soften it, and it goes onto the brow smoother. Now you could use like water, or you can even score it with like a little eyebrow brush to really get it on there, but licking it works really well. What you need is some sort of eyebrow brush. Now I just use a spoolie. So the first thing that I'm going to want to do, or the first thing that I do, is again, lick it. You could score it, whatever you want to do, but you're going to want to go back and forth kind of vigorously and get the glue in there in between all those hairs. Okay, so I kind of go this way against the grain. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my eyebrow brush and I'm going to press pretty firmly and brush my hairs straight up against my face. What I'm going to want to do is really make sure this is dry before I go in with another layer. And you're just going to want to repeat that process. I usually do about 4 layers, depending on the thickness and the girth of your eyebrow. It's going to depend on how many layers of glue. And start my second layer, okay? And this time, instead of going back and forth, I'm just going to go straight up like so, okay? And I'm going to let that dry. Okay, let's do another layer. Okay, now I'm going to do the final layer here. And again, just straight up. The only time you want to go back and forth is that first initial application. So I'm going to, so this final layer, you guys, this is important. You're going to kind of let it dry, but not all the way, because what you're going to want to do is pick up some pressed powder. Now I use the L'Oreal Infallible. It's like a full coverage foundation powder. So you can pick up whatever you like, but this is just what I'm currently using, and a puff of some sort. Now, before this is all the way dry, I'm going to want to take my pressed powder. I'm going to get a substantial amount on there, and I'm going to start pressing this onto the brow. Do you see that? How it just kind of covers all of that up nicely, but also going to want to let that dry because the glue is still kind of tacky underneath and you can feel it. So I would say maybe about 30 seconds to a minute, let this do its thing. And then you're going to go in with either a color corrector, or what I use is the Kryolan TV paint stick. Now this is a full coverage stage makeup. This is amazing. Okay. If you do not have something this full coverage, you might have to color correct depending on how dark your brow is. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to take and I'm going to literally go over it with this and get it on there. And then what I like to do from here is take my finger and kind of press it in. I feel like your fingers work really well for this part. And now what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to set that, right? Because typically when I'm doing a brow blocking, I am going to go in over it with an eyebrow. So I want to make sure that I have a canvas that I can really get that eyebrow on, and I want it to be matte. All right, so I'm just going to take a loose brush and just basically tap this in. That's it. That is how I block out my eyebrows. Now I'm going to go and draw on another eyebrow just to kind of show you what you can do after you have your eyebrows all blocked out. I hope that helped. Okay, I hope that was beneficial. I hope that you've learned something. If not, I apologize. I hope it was easy to follow. Again, that's just the way that I do it. I'm positive there are other ways out there that are much easier or better than what I just showed you. But again, it just works for me and the looks that I do. So let me know again if you have any questions, and thank you so much. Actually, before I go, there are always questions about how I get this off. This Elmer's glue is water soluble, so it comes off with soap and water, but I always go in first with a wipe. The oils in the wipe kind of help break it down really nicely, and then you can go wash your face with soap and water, but I just use a generic Kroger brand wipe, and it works really well because sometimes I do 2 to 3 looks a day, so my eyebrows really go through it. And no, I haven't lost any brow hairs, and I'm trying to think of some of the other questions that I've gotten. But again, if you have questions, please let me know.